Before a soul is born into the world, it exists in the presence of God, in a state beyond time and space. The Bible tells us that God knew us before we were formed. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. Each soul is created with a purpose, a divine plan written before the foundation of the world. God, in His wisdom, ordains the times and places where each soul will live. Acts 17:26. The question of how a soul receives its parents and soulmate is not left to chance, but is part of this greater design. A soul does not choose parents in the way humans choose. Rather, it is appointed to them by God's sovereign will. The family into which a soul is born is designed to shape it, discipline it, and prepare it for the calling God has placed upon it. For some, this means being born into a loving, God-fearing household where faith is nurtured from an early age, much like Timothy, who was raised in the faith by his mother and grandmother. 2 Timothy 1:5. For others, it means entering into difficult circumstances, just as Joseph was placed in a family where he was rejected by his brothers. Genesis 37. Though painful, these experiences mold the soul, drawing it closer to God. God's placement of a soul is not accidental. Even the struggles a child faces, whether through loss, suffering, or trials, are tools in the hands of the Creator to refine and prepare them. For whom the Lord loves, He disciplines. Hebrews 12:6. If the placement of a soul in a family is guided by God, then the union of two souls in marriage is no less ordained. The Bible speaks of divine pairings. Adam and Eve, Isaac and Rebekah, Ruth and Boaz, these were not random encounters but orchestrations of God's plan. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. Some believe in the idea that every soul has a perfect counterpart, a destined soulmate. While Scripture does not explicitly teach this concept, it does affirm that God joins people together for His purposes. Mark 10:9. The union of a husband and wife is a mystery, reflecting Christ and the church. Ephesians 5:31-32. God brings people together not merely for personal happiness, but for the fulfillment of His kingdom work. A godly marriage is a covenant that strengthens both individuals, refines them through trials, and equips them to serve together. However, finding a life partner is not simply about waiting for destiny to unfold. It requires wisdom, prayer, and alignment with God's principles. Proverbs 18:22 states, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." This suggests an active pursuit guided by God's hand. There are times when two souls may feel drawn to one another, yet they are not meant to walk the same path. This is because human desires do not always align with divine timing. God may withhold a union to teach patience, or He may allow separation so that greater spiritual growth can occur. Does this mean that every aspect of a soul's journey is predetermined? The Bible teaches both divine sovereignty and human responsibility. God's plan is perfect, yet He gives individuals the ability to choose. Israel was chosen by God, yet they were also given the freedom to obey or turn away. Deuteronomy 30:19. Similarly, while God may prepare a path for a soul, that soul must choose to walk in obedience. A person may be placed in a godly family but reject faith. Another may meet the right partner but fail to cultivate love. This delicate balance between predestination and free will is best understood through faith. God's ways are higher than ours, Isaiah 55:8-9, and while He guides, He also allows choices that shape a soul's destiny. Whether a soul is placed in hardship or prosperity, whether it finds its soulmate early or late, every experience is meant to draw it back to the Creator. Earthly relationships, parents, spouses, friends, are only temporary. The ultimate relationship is with God Himself. At the end of life, the soul returns to the one who gave it. Ecclesiastes 12:7 says, "Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it." This journey, from pre-existence to earthly life to eternity, is not about who we are born to or whom we marry, but about whether we come to know and love God. All else is a means to that end.